I want to thank you on behalf of the Technology First Task Force. We thank you for joining us for our 1-year celebration. If you are part of the task force, please stand up so we can celebrate together and be acknowledged. This is a wonderful group of people. They were the first group of people when I started my position 2 years ago that I got to formally work with, and they have been so gracious and such good partners. And this would not be possible without them. So thank you, Tech First Task Force. Over our first year, we became a technology first state on August 15th of 2022. But during since that time, we have seen great progress in people wanting to access technology. Our goals during this time has been awareness, access, and autonomy. As you see in our graph, we have gained, just in the last year, we started doing webinars, our Tech Tuesday. And so that's where the line begins. And so we have grown for people requesting assistive technology by 71%. The Maryland Technical Assistance Program also let me know that they have gone from 851 requests for trainings in a year to 1,051 for. So that is wonderful. People are really wanting to know about technology. So with that, so that's a great achievement. To our agenda this morning, Secretary Beatty is going to be a little bit late. So when she comes, we will have her presentation of our new proclamation. This will be our second proclamation. But while we are waiting for her to kind of keep on schedule, I'm going to introduce our visionary, Deputy Bernie Simon, to come on up and welcome you in his way, as well as introduce our first speaker for today.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to our first anniversary. As you heard from Stephanie, we're starting to grow with numbers. You know, we didn't think it was going to start immediately, but we're going to protect work group and you know, some of the changes in our home community based waivers. We had the opportunity to obviously make changes and give people the opportunities that they want to become more independent by using technology. So let me start by thanking those sponsors today with Beatty Council, and we'll help make sure that the event was accessible. Thank you, Rachel and company. Kennedy Krieger for sponsoring the showcase. Other sponsors were SEEC, Rich Croft, and Sacred Home in bringing together the three essentials that we really need, as you see out there: coffee, ice cream, and pizza. So this is what it looks like when a community comes together. We're here. And, you know, it's going to make a huge impact on people's lives, huge impact. And, you know, we always talked about years ago, technology was the future. Well, technology, the future's here now for us, right? We have all of these opportunities, whether it be high tech or low tech, helping people to succeed in getting jobs, building relationships, accessing the community, and just moving forward with all of that stuff. I also need to thank some of the presenters who are here today, who are getting up their tools. Quillo is putting person-centered planning in the palm of people's hands. Hello, it's me, helping people develop safe and healthy relationships, and of course, safe at home. And so we'll be connecting the dots as we go through the presentations today. And, you know, as we move forward, I want to wish everybody a great day, including those who are virtual with us. But before I introduce our first presenter, Dr. Brad Schlagger, who's the CEO of and president of Krieger. Let me tell you a little bit about my connection with Dr. Schlagger. So many of you know I'm director. I've been doing it over 9 years now. I was director for 8 years in Missouri. And when I was there, Brad was on the staff and faculty of Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis. He was there for about 19 years. And 4 years, he was the division head of pediatric and developmental neurology. And he was a co-director, and many of you may not know this, but there were only 15 intellectual and developmental disabilities research centers in the country. And, you know, and Krieger was one, as well as Washington University was where I was there. And he provided a lot of insight, research, et cetera, as we're doing that. And so let me just say, whether we're when I was in Missouri or here in Baltimore with Brad, I continue to look forward to being a partner with him, with his agency, with all of our agencies. And, you know, he certainly had an impact on our communities, whether it be when I was with him in Missouri or here in Maryland. There's a theme here, M state, right? And so I just want to thank him not only as a colleague and a partner, but also as a friend. So thanks.
Good morning. And thank you very much, Bernie. It's Deputy Secretary Stine. It's a great pleasure to be introduced by you and to be part of this celebration. You know, speaking of celebrations, I'm just now celebrating my own 5th anniversary of joining the Krieger Institute. And as I reflect on that experience, I so appreciate the friendship, the partnership with you, Secretary Beatty, with so many of you in this room. It's really a bit of pleasure. And my anniversary date actually is August 15th. And as you just heard, August 15th was by Governor Moore's proclamation, formally going to be Maryland Technology First Day. And he signed that proclamation on the anniversary of his predecessor, Governor Hogan, declaring by proclamation Maryland's Technology First Initiative, being the 8th state to do so. Technology first. That's a very clear statement of commitment to a person-centered movement that by its very name prioritizes consideration of assistive technology in whatever form when we are considering support options for individuals with disability with the objective of enhancing independence and autonomy. So I'm proud to say that Krieger stands with the state of Maryland and the disability communities represented so well in this room and online as a staunch supporter of this initiative, which establishes a system of support for people with disability, including intellectual and developmental disabilities, which you may know is a particular focus of the Institute, to access assistive technologies, which will enhance each person's independence at home, at work, at play, at worship, and in all aspects of their communities. Now, the technology, of course, is not static. Because of technological advances, tools will continue to change, to improve, to more effectively meet the needs of individuals. With such advances, we should anticipate increasingly individualized tools, precision technology, if you will, that will make assistive technology ever more effective for a given person as they experience day-to-day life. So it's really imperative that we capitalize on technology for people with disabilities and recognize that technology has the opportunity and the potential to greatly enhance the individual's inclusion, independence, and opportunities for meaningful employment, whether at home, at work, or in the community. Technology First is an initiative that is fundamentally an argument for equity. It recognizes the role that assistive technology plays in giving people the tools they need specifically to succeed. Screen readers, speech recognition software, mobility aids, smart home devices, these can enhance independence by allowing individuals to perform tasks that might otherwise be challenging or impossible. And of course, this enhanced independence naturally fosters for that person a stronger sense of autonomy and reduces dependency on caregivers. And I think that benefit goes even beyond the individual in that such technology, by helping to liberate individuals with disability increases the recognition by others of that person's capacity for autonomy, that person's inner life, that person's capacity for self-direction and decision-making. So in other words, it also aids in the worthy battle we all fight against stigmatization that comes from looking, sounding, and behaving differently. Assistive technology drives opportunities for employment, enabling remote work, flexible work arrangements, job accommodations, lowering the barriers for people with disabilities to enter the workforce and contribute to the economy and experience the dignity and enjoyment that comes from employment, and for many that comes from work. These lowered barriers also facilitate entrepreneurship and successful self-employment. In other words, assistive technology can help drive economic empowerment for individuals with disabilities. And with economic empowerment, there's fostering of ever more opportunities for independence and autonomy, a feed-forward effect. So now I thought, at the microphone, I'd take a few minutes making no assumptions about how well you all know Kennedy School here, to tell you a little bit about us and what we do. And I always like to lead with a mission statement, because I think it accurately reflects the unique and breathtaking nature of our mission, which is to transform the lives of children, youth, and adults with, and those at risk for, disorders of the developing nervous system through innovative, equity-based, and culturally relevant clinical care, research, education, community partnership, advocacy, and training. Diversity, cultural linguistic competency, and inclusion are foundational in the services the Institute provides. Now, that is not a pithy mission statement, I know, but I think it well describes who we are and how we stand apart entirely from other organizations. Now, an important point I'd like to make about the Institute is that while we have now a 56-year-old affiliation agreement with Johns Hopkins, we are not part of Johns Hopkins. That's a misapprehension that's widely held. We are an entirely separate 501c3. The affiliation agreement describes our academic relations. I'm a professor of neurology and pediatrics at Johns Hopkins, but I'm employed at Kennedy Krieger. Now, that said, we certainly have and are proud of a powerful friendship and partnership with Hopkins University Health System. Now, I suspect what we're most recognized for is as a provider of healthcare. And this past year, we served over 27,000 unique patients coming from all over Maryland, 50 states, and 38 countries. Our expertise spans rare and common conditions, centered for the very most part on neurodevelopmental disabilities. We have a relatively small, non-acute, rehabilitation-focused hospital. We have a very large outpatient practice that is composed of well over 80 different largely interdisciplinary clinical programs, 600 plus clinicians made up of physicians, psychologists, therapists, social workers, and others. Perhaps it's not very well known, but over half of our outpatient clinical activity is focused on behavioral and mental health. In our schools, we serve over 450 publicly funded students from Maryland and DC. They're students who are referred to us through the local school systems when individualized educational and school-based needs are not being met by the local school systems. And in this way, I think we undergird or help to undergird Maryland's public school system. We presently have 4 schools, 3 in Baltimore City, 1 in northern Prince George's County. And in just a couple of weeks, we're going to be opening a 5th school in St. Mary's County in California, Maryland, to serve the 3 counties that comprise southern Maryland as well as southern Prince George's County. So very exciting news on that front. The world-class research institute does everything from laboratory-based to clinical investigation. And our real focus right now is exploring our clinical trials work, especially for pediatric patients with rare neurodegenerative diseases. We see this focus on access to clinical trials for rare diseases as an equity issue, access to care. We're a major clinical training institution, over 900 clinical trainings passing through our doors each year. A good number will stay with us at the completion of training, but the majority distributed across the country, embedding themselves in communities throughout the country. This is a really powerful way that we spread the expertise that they gain with us embedded in communities throughout the country. They talk about being a resource nationally and internationally. Often think of that as delivering clinical care and publishing papers, influencing the research literature. But another really powerful way is by training and distributing that expertise across the country. Over the last 25 years, we've trained close to 10,000 neurodevelopmentally savvy clinicians. Now, some of the segments of our work just don't get the airtime they deserve. For nearly 40 years, for example, our Center for Child and Family Traumatic Stress has been providing trauma-informed care well before that term became widely in usage, treating children who've been exposed to adverse childhood experiences, whether, for example, it might be being a victim of or witness of violence. We have a medically fragile daycare. This is a daycare setting for children whose medical complexity would ordinarily exclude them from virtually any other daycare setting, making it possible for their parents to work with the confidence that their children are in good hands. We have a Project Search program. Many of you are aware of Project Search, and we have a department that's focused entirely on diversity in the workplace and hosted multiple national and local conferences on the topic, including just last week, Maryland's Project Search annual meeting. We have the Maryland Center for Developmental Disabilities table is set up in an adjacent room. We are the state's sole federally funded University Center for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities, Education, Research, and Service. The MCED's mission is to provide leadership that advances the inclusion of people with intellectual, developmental, and other disabilities, especially through education, advocacy, and service. We have a significant presence in adaptive sports. For decades, the Bennett Blazers have been a venue for youth adaptive sports that goes from recreational to elite. For example, the Blazers playing some of the most decorated Paralympians in the history of competition. At our International Center for Spinal Cord Injury, we just opened our third site. It's in White Marsh. Other two sites are Baltimore City, not far from here at Howard County and Maplewood. Significant adaptive sports program there for adults competing and recreating in wheelchair racing and in sailing. So I would say that what I cherish the most about Kennedy Krieger is that through our unique mission and backed up with action, we wrap our arms around the space of neurodevelopmental disability in ways not tractable elsewhere. So I'd just like to close with a couple of comments about our collaboration with the DDA. We work closely with the DDA through our core foundation program, which provides services and supports to adults with disabilities, employment, and meaningful community engagement. We truly value the collaboration with providers across the state of Maryland. As part of the relationship with the DDA, we were an early adopter of LTSS transformation, now supporting agencies in the state making this transition. As you heard, we were part of the Technology First Committee, but also the Employment First Committee, and many trainings and panels and programs hosted by the DDA. And for nearly 4 years now, the DDA has, with MCED and the Department of Neuropsychology at Kennedy Krieger, have partnered to review cases, engage in technical assistance and training, and provide consultation for DDA regional coordinators. This is really a unique partnership, and it's an opportunity for us to leverage our expertise to achieve better outcomes for individuals with disabilities across the state. People on the go, I saw Matt earlier today. Another great connection is with People on the Go, which works very closely with the MCED. The MCED is People on the Go's administrative and fiscal agent, and they're co-located. And since 2016, the DDA has funded People on the Go to implement the Project STIR curriculum, steps toward independence and responsibility. That curriculum, the self-advocates. This year, the DDA funding POG trained more than 500 self-advocates on that curriculum. And then one of my absolute favorite manifestations of our relationship is that during the pandemic, we worked in collaboration with DDA, the Department of Health, the Department of Disabilities, to provide over. Everybody okay? So we provided over 1,200 Marylanders with COVID-19 vaccinations, especially including individuals with significant severe disabilities who require accommodations of behavioral supports to get a successful vaccination, but for this program, very likely would not have been able to successfully receive vaccination. So I'll close on that note. Thank you again, Bernie. Look forward to seeing Carol, Kim, Carol, and Carol, and Nick. It's definitely good to see you, and thank you all for your attention and the opportunity to be part of this celebration. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm pleased to welcome Secretary Carol Beatty of the Department of Disabilities, and thank her for helping to ensure that we're able to share the governor's proclamation today. Carol and her team have always been champions of technology, and in fact, here is part of the event. So please welcome Secretary Beatty.
Thank you. Thanks, Bernie. So good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. I'm really pleased to be able to spend a few moments with you to celebrate Maryland's first anniversary as a technology first state. First, let me thank all the sponsors, especially Dr. Schlagger and Kennedy Krieger Institute for being the lead sponsor for today. And I also want to thank the staff at the Maryland Department of Health and the Developmental Disabilities Administration for leading this effort all year round and organizing this event for all of us. I'm happy to bring greetings from Governor Moore, Lieutenant Governor Miller, and the entire Moore-Miller administration. This is a very important and also exciting opportunity to continue to have Maryland lead in this area. We are living in the digital world and information age, and technology and digital information are cornerstones in our society, highlighted by all that we were able to do during the pandemic. We rely on technology for everyday communication, for commerce, and for information sharing. You know, it feels like second nature to most of us, like using my phone to navigate over here from my meeting where I was this morning. And maybe we take some of the technology that we use all the time for granted. Everyday items like watches and refrigerators and even toothbrushes are now smart devices that assist connected users with everyday tasks. And the pace at which the technology is evolving is ever increasing. But far too often, people with disabilities are left behind when it comes to using technology, especially as part of their system of support. That is, in comparison, if you think about it, that is pretty dismal when compared to their non-disabled peers. Governor Moore and our entire administration are focused on how to create a more equitable Maryland, especially as it applies to technology. And Governor Moore's team has already made great strides in this area. Last week, the governor announced that the Department of Information Technology, or as we refer to it within state government as DO-IT, announced the hiring of our state's first accessibility officer, Andrew Drummond. Andrew's work will focus on ensuring that the state buys and uses technology that is accessible for all people with disabilities. Andrew, I'm glad to say, is an alumni of the Department of Disabilities and is perfect for this role. We look forward to working with him to create a more inclusive state government. So as the state looks to become more inclusive, we also must look at our own work and ask what we are doing the most to create opportunities for individuals with disabilities to live the life that they choose. We encourage people with disabilities and their support circles to look at how technology can promote full inclusion and self-determination. Technology first means that we first look at technology and devices as a solution for individuals with disabilities instead of defaulting to direct support staffing. Technology can include many things, such as simple medication reminders or dispensing devices, sensors on doors and windows, or systems that enable individuals to communicate with remote staff by using phones or web-based technology. Technology provides tools that can increase safety and health for individuals. For example, technology can be used to track adherence to medication schedules, sleep patterns, and the occurrence of health events. Technology and thinking about technology as a first option can be part of the solution to the direct care staffing shortage that we have right now. Using technology is often less expensive and less restrictive. If you can improve someone's quality of life at a lower cost while increasing their independence, that's a win, win, and a win. I am pleased to announce that Governor Moore has issued a proclamation honoring Maryland's anniversary as a technology-first state. And Deputy Secretary Simons, can you come forward and let me read it. So it says, whereas we believe in a Maryland which recognizes the unlimited potential for all citizens, including those with disabilities, to live, work, and thrive in our communities. And whereas enabling or assistive technology is any product, device, or equipment that allows people with disabilities to enhance their functional independence. And whereas access to enabling or assistive technology supports and services allows Marylanders with disabilities to have independence, safety, and privacy. Whereas on August 15th, 2022, Maryland was declared a technology-first state, meaning Maryland is committed to empowering all of our citizens with disabilities to have access to technology that will enhance their ability to pursue their best life as they define it. And whereas we are committed to building a state that promotes equality of opportunity, access, and choice for Marylanders with disabilities through technology. Now, therefore, I, Wes Moore, Governor of the State of Maryland, on August 15th, 2023, do hereby proclaim Maryland as a technology-first state, establishing a system of support for Marylanders with disabilities to access enabling or assistive technology. And this proclamation is signed by Governor Moore, Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller, and our Secretary of State, Susan Lee. Thank you, and enjoy your day of learning.
Thank you, Secretary Mayhue, and Deputy Secretary Simon. That was so task force, we got a whole day. So I can't wait to next year for us to celebrate our day at King's Day. So one of the things that the Secretary pointed out is technology is used for people to help people with disabilities to create their best lives as they see fit. Today we have an example of that in Jessica Stine. Jessica Stine is from Washington County, Maryland. She is the BDA Western Maryland Regional Advocacy Specialist. She is a member of the Assistive Technology Loan Program Board. She represents Maryland Technology First Tech Champions. Due to her being severely vision impaired, she uses assistive technology along with Braille to be productive and successful. Jessica has graduated with an associate's degree in general studies, along with being certified as a paralegal. She is assisted with starting an advocacy group and achieved 2 awards, which were Self-Advocators of the Year and being successful with technology. In the workplace, no matter what Jessica is doing, she brings the same values, compassion, determination into everything that she does for herself and others. So I would like to welcome Jessica to the stage so she can let you know how she is building her best life utilizing technology.
Good morning, everybody. My journey utilizing assistive technology began 30 years ago at the age of 16 when I was diagnosed with a genetic eye condition called retinitis pigmentosa, or RP for short. Then 6 years after being diagnosed, my vision became what it is today, and that is the ability to see light and shadows. In the beginning, all I could see was the obstacles ahead. But with the support from my family, friends, professionals who taught blind independent skills, my own sheer determination, and the help of assistive technology made that transition from having sight to almost nearly no sight at all a little smoother. I realized that my blindness is a part of me, but it doesn't define who I am as a person. I decided that I was going to live my life to the best of my ability. Therefore, I decided that I was going to set any goals for myself, no matter what. I graduated from college with an associate's art degree in general studies, along with being certified as a paralegal. I received 2 awards. One was Self-Advocator of the Year, and being successful using technology in a workplace. I manage my own finances. I keep in contact with others through email. I interact on social media. I listen to books. I can play games. I play the guitar. And I pretty much do anything that someone with sight has, except I just do it a little differently and with a little different types of help with assistive technology. I'm also employed by DDA as the Western Maryland Regional Advocacy Specialist. Besides my normal job duties, I'm also a part of the Technology First Task Force, and I'm also the DDA representative for the Assistive Technology Board program. I am able to accomplish all these tasks through the help of assistive technology. Many of the devices I use is as follows. First is my mobility device, which is my cane. It allows me to navigate throughout my environment. Currently, I have began using the WeWalk Smart Cane, which provides vibrational feedback for items that are above the waist, where a normal standard mobility cane would not detect. Those include like signs and branches. It also has GPS navigation in it. It provides a list of items that are nearby, and I can select from that list, or I can put in an address, and my cane will give me verbal turn-by-turn directions to that place. Along the way, if there are businesses or stores, it will also announce those items as well. Another device that I use on a daily basis is called my color identifier. This device detects colors and tells them to me verbally. This allows the ability to match outfits for my own without any assistance. Another item that I have used since the beginning of my journey 30 years ago is called a screen reader, Job Access with Speech, or JAWS. This device allows the computer to talk to me. and allows me the ability to do almost anything someone with sight can do on a computer. Over the years, the software has evolved, and I use it on a daily basis, both in my professional and personal life. Another device that I use on a daily basis are my OrCam glasses, which I am wearing today. They have a camera located on the right arm of the glasses. These glasses provide the ability to read any text documents and allows the ability to read menus and envelopes, so I know what mail is mine. I also can take a picture of people and put a voice tag to that picture of who it is. When my camera is on, it will identify who that person is in front of me. If you're not in my camera, it'll tell me at least how many people are in front of me. I also can store my favorite products that I use on a daily basis in my camera, and then when I'm at the store, it will announce that product to me. And I can also identify products through the barcode on actual products. Another device that I use is called a Braille embosser. This is a printer for the blind. It is just like how your printer is for the sighted, except for two different things. One, mine doesn't use ink, it makes raised dots. And secondly, is the cost. It's very expensive. Another device that is very, very handy to me is my Victor String Reader recorder. This allows the ability for me to record all of my guitar lessons, so I can practice my guitar at home. It also provides the ability to record a quick note to take a message if somebody calls. I can download books, podcasts, and listen to music on this little device. Every feature on my Victor String speaks. I also use an Amazon Echo in my house. My Amazon Echo provides local information to me, allows me to verbally use products that would normally not be accessible to me. I can give it a voice command and it will start different products that I have in the house. Another device that I use is my iPhone and my iPad. Both of these devices allow me the ability to interact on a daily basis with anybody and everybody. I have what is called VoiceOver enabled on both devices. VoiceOver is a screen reader that is built into Apple products. It allows the ability for everything on my phone to be read to me. Assistive technology is the key to unlocking many doors for those of us who are disabled. Having companies incorporate assistive technology into their devices allows people who are disabled, along with their loved ones, the peace of mind, independence, and equality. This is why helping Maryland become a technology-first state was so important to myself and others. We wanted to give all Marylanders the ability to have the necessary tools and the equality to be the best that we can be due to our abilities, and we keep striving with the assistance of technology. I thank you today for allowing me to speak and give you a glimpse into my journey using assistive technology. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for sharing your story. Now, how do you have a party without a theme? Our theme today is Make the Dots. And our next presenter is going to show how assistive technology can be blended in with traditional support. So we are going to invite Abby with SEEC and her guests to join us up on stage. And SEEC is also one of our sponsors, so we want to thank them again.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for having us today. And thank you, Stephanie, for inviting us to chat about the exciting work that we've been doing at SEEC over the past year or so. My name is Abby George. I'm the Person-Driven Technology Manager at SEEC. Try saying that 5 times fast.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kyra Harvey. I'm an instructional resource coordinator at SEEC. So what that consists of is hosting a lot of different classes among our sexuality course, home and housing, and our money management.
Hi, my name is Mercedes McKeel. I'm a DSP, specifically community engagement coach. I work primarily with Jessica Brand, who's also here, and another person.
All right, and unfortunately, our colleague Robbie could not be here today. Coverage issues, which I'm sure we can all relate with. So you can move on to the next slide. So today we're going to talk a little bit about how we're addressing ableism through our use of technology. Again, this is this work that we've been doing over the past year or so. So just some kind of facts and figures for you. 23% of people with IDD report that they have never been online. Okay, so just think about your own life. How many times you go online every single day, right? My phone is attached to my hand at all times, and every little question I have, I'm going to Google for it, right? 39, so about 40% of people with IDD have access to an iPhone, as opposed to, I bet every person in this room has a smartphone of some sort in their pocket right now, right? So think, 60% of people with IDD do not have access to a smartphone. So talking about shopping online, right? We all do it. Amazon, I think we keep them in business probably. So 27% of people with IDD report that they have never shopped online, never bought anything online, as opposed to 75% of people without a disability. So just kind of some really jarring statistics, and it really gets to our point, I think, of the access to technology that we all have, as opposed to the lack of access to technology that the people we support have. The next one.
I think that's me.
Yep.
So what we're going to do here today is really share with you a little bit of tidbits from our pilot that we kicked off in October 22. And what that focused on was 7 people that we support and 7 staff that support those people with disabilities. And we wanted to find ways how to blend in technology into the schedules that they already do. So it's not really giving technology and forcing it onto the people that we support, nor the staff, but really finding out where in their schedule, where in their daily tasks that they already do, can we find a way to implement technology to make it easier or to make the playing field a little bit leveled.
And so this gets to our whole purpose is ableism, right? And kind of combating and eradicating ableism. And what is ableism, right? We all have some sort of internalized ableism or externalized at times. And it's just the idea that people we support, people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, can't think for themselves, can't make their own choices, can't choose the goals that they want to pursue in their lives. If anyone's ever heard the phrase, the soft bigotry of low expectations, that's ableism. And so we designed our pilot to put technology in people's hands. We work specifically with iPads and with portable printers so that we can take them out in the community. And so we'll tell you a little bit about the work that we've been doing with those. In 1 second.
So we do multiple different things, right? So We are assisting people with support, with navigation, cooking, sequencing, with to-do tasks and shopping, calendars. We've done a multitude of things, and we do have two great examples here today. So we're going to go into depth a little bit about that. But I just also wanted to touch on that number that we had at the beginning. I think it was about maybe 47%. A lot of us are introduced to technology and we all take our time to learn it. That assumption that people with disabilities would mess up or they wouldn't know what to do, we're here to break that stigma. We're here to break that stereotype because we all have a starting point with technology, and how we get supported there or how we learn it, it just takes a few times.
So we just want to kind of reiterate that technology is not the solution, right? It's a strategy by which we get people to lead more independent lives and lives of their choosing. It's honestly the bridge to independence, and there's a lot of different ways to go about it. As Kyra mentioned, you know, some of the same ways that we use technology in our everyday lives. We're looking at recipes for. How many of you use Waze or Apple Maps or whatever to get here today? I know I did. Right? Using navigation to get around. You know, we use technology in those ways every day, so why shouldn't the people we support? I just want to touch on the two people in these pictures very quickly. The top left is Lindsay. And Lindsay has autism, and so a lot of the times, like if you say, Lindsay, and you offer her some choices for lunch, she's probably going to repeat the last thing you said, right? And so we're like, man, Lindsay, like we really need you to make like your own choice, like a true choice that we know that you are ready to make, right? And we're not just kind of inferring or assuming you're going to choose the last thing we said. So we, with the use of her iPad, an app called Numbers, we created a little kind of table template for her and input all of her lunch choices. And I showed her how to make the first box, and I'm sorry, the picture's a little bit hard to see, but there's 4 choices there. I showed her how to make the first one. She went on ahead and made the rest of them, right? So she picked it up like that, and now she and her staff in the morning, when they're planning on where they're going to go to lunch, Lindsay makes her true choice, and we know that that's coming from Lindsay. The second picture on the bottom is a woman named Chris. And Chris loves to be social. She loves to chat with people, but she is difficult to understand. And so when she would go out to her local Starbucks, which is right next to her apartment, her staff would have to order for her because the barista can't understand her. And so we took our portable printer, printed the order that she generally gets from Starbucks. It's the lemon cake and Arnold Palmer. Those are her go-tos every day. And so we printed those, wrote down her order, wrote down her name. So all she has to do now when she goes to order at Starbucks is hand over her order, and it's taken care of. There's no involvement from staff whatsoever. So that's just a couple of examples of how we use our tech so far.
Another example is Severio, who you see on the screen. So anyone at SEEC knows that Severio loves pizza. He loves pizza every Friday. He has pizza, he has lunch with his support staff, and they enjoy a slice of pizza. What we thought was, in that moment, when does Severio get the chance to create his own pizza? It's always handed to him or ordered for him. But does he get to partake in that experience of creating something and that reward of enjoying it? That first time we all learn a recipe, whether it turned out great or bad, we all enjoyed that process, but we're proud of ourselves that we made something. So we wanted to give that to Severio. So what we did was we took Polaroid pictures from our portable printer, and we printed them out and made steps, a visual recipe for Severio to follow. Not everyone can just read a recipe and understand it fully. Keep in mind that we're all different learners, right? Audio, visual, kinesthetic. So in this process for Severio, he's kind of getting a sense of it all. And he's getting to see what that pizza may look like, the reward at the end. But each process, each step is a picture for him to follow. So it's not more so him sitting on the side and waiting for his staff to create the pizza or waiting for his staff to order the pizza. He's partaking in that process. And not only is he partaking in that process, he's getting to redeem the reward himself. So we've given Severio recipes to follow. Another way we have implemented technology into Severio's daily tasks is that Severio loves the bus. He loves the bus. He loves going here, he loves going there, but in that process, someone's always telling him, hey, we're here at the stop, get off. So we thought we gave him this iPad. What if Severio got to track his process, his map route on his own? That pride that he takes for himself, knowing when he is supposed to get off the bus so that no one has to tap on him and remind him, hey, we're here. So those are the little things and the big things, changes in his life that we're making for him.
I my effort that my mom did that. I also used with I became at the side video that's the only thing I use. It's designed to share with my family, friends, and available to all of my own group. And then give them my stuff up time. If you want to stay in my house, so I would leave me, I can show you it on my iPad.
Video she's about to show you is a clip from the self-advocacy video she made using her iPad, which she did say if anyone would like to see the full-length video after the presentation, she's more than glad to share it.
Hi, my name is Jessica. I like Starbucks. I order my drink on my iPad. My family is important to me. I want to volunteer somewhere people will be nice to me. I use hearing processor so I can hear. Please ask me if you have got. Thank you for watching.
So that 30-second clip is just a short bit from, I think her video almost 4 minutes long, which is what my main project has been with the pilot. It is focusing on creating self-advocacy videos for the people we support. When I look around, I do see some familiar faces from Beatty Day. Advocacy is my passion. So these videos are being created so that the people we support can share their wants, their likes, their support needs directly with new staff, family members, maybe the strangers they meet that day because they want to they want to know more about them. And then this information is being shared from the person themselves. We're not speaking on their behalf. If a new staff is coming in to work with Jessica, I can tell you my experience working with her, what I think she wants and likes, but that information is coming from me. That is not Jessica's story. That is not what Jessica wants you to know. So thank you for having us today and letting us talk a little bit about the really exciting work we've been doing this year. And SEEC is sponsoring the ice cream social today, so please go get some ice cream. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Jessica, for sharing your story with us. We appreciate you. Next is one of the things that we are here for. Remember our goals are always awareness and access. And what we're here for is our vendors. So we're gonna have our quick vendor showcase. Let me check with, yeah, we can do our quick vendor showcase. And we are going to start with, and they're gonna come through, introduce themselves to you, and tell you a little bit about their product, and invite you to their table after we get finished with everything. After them, we're gonna have a virtual tour of a smart home, where we get to see all the fun stuff that people can put into their homes and help them to live more independently. So first, I wanna, it's way back here. I didn't see you check. So we're gonna go. Hello, it's me.
Hello, it's me.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. We definitely would love to see you in our venue table. We are right between the two microphones, and we are presenting Hello, It's Me. It's the first of its kind app designed specifically for individuals with disabilities around relationships. It has multiple components. We have also partnered, many of you may know Dr. Karen Harvey, nationally recognized psychologist who presents a lot. She created stories based on all types of relationships. And these stories are animated and have pivot points where the individual who is watching the story gets to make the decision of how that story goes. They get to understand and learn the consequences of that decision. And it is based on all types of relationships. Additionally, Dr. Harvey has trained relationship coaches throughout the country. So individuals who may be having issues with family members, friends, boyfriends, girlfriends, staff, they can get on Hello, It's Me and talk to a relationship coach and work through those issues. Lastly, it will also be a traditional swipe left, swipe right. This is real world. If people want to meet other people in their community, they will have the opportunity to do so. Unlike the traditional apps, your Tinders and your Bumbles, there are a lot more safeguards in place for the folks using this app. And then lastly, we will be moving into live events. We will have karaoke, we will have dance parties, so people are creating a community around their shared wants, likes, and interests. And our goal is to remove loneliness and isolation that impacts so many people with IDD. Thank you.
CEO of Rich Pop, and they have sponsored our pizza for today. So thank you for that as well. Philip, if you can come to the front of the line, just right back here. Philip is one of our new vendors to Maryland, Corona, and he's going to tell you a little bit about Philip and invite you to this table for you to visit and see all the fun things that they are.
Good morning to everybody. Thanks for allowing us to be here. I'm very excited to be looking around to see who I know. It's been a long process for us here in Maryland. So multiple years to get to the point where it's an offering for about to people. So we're based off of Charting the Life course. Is anyone familiar with Charting the Life course? Right. So basically, we've digitized all the tools and then we've gotten it growing. I don't have enough time to tell you all the features and functions, that's why you have to find me. But our goal is to educate, engage, and inspire. So we take your circle of support, we're going to allow you to share with them your daily victories to help schedule your goals, and ultimately the plan is to make sure that you have a person-centered plan in your pocket 24/7, 365. So we engage with folks, you learn what they're doing, and that sounds interesting. You can just flash your phone, and that goes directly to your phone. We're working with the state and health to make sure that the integration here in the future, so who we are today, is going to continue to grow and get better. And that's why we're so excited about this. We are able to take on our first participants in the state. We're looking to get our first group of 2,000 folks. We have 5 states nationwide that will use it as our beta test. So not only do you have access to, again, engage with everybody throughout Maryland, what they're doing, how to be successful, applying that to your daily life, but you're going to help us dictate exactly what's needed in our platform. We spent 6 years building it. It's awesome. But now we need feedback, the day-to-day usage. What's going to make it better? What's going to make sure you wake up in the morning, first thing you do is you're going into life, first thing you figure it out. What am I doing today? What am I accomplishing? And who's going to help me do it? So that's who we are in a nutshell. Come, please hang out with me for a little bit. I'd like to show you more exactly who we are. So thank you so much for the time. Look forward to speaking with y'all here.
Are we ready for her? Are we? Oh, she's not next. Okay. We're getting a few minutes. I know we're getting close to her. So next we have Maryland Assistive Technology Program. Then we're going to have Maryland Relay and Maryland Telecommunication, as well as the, if Betsy would like to come up and talk a little bit about the independence. Come on now.
Hi, I'm Nora Walker. I'm the Assistive Tech and Public Health Coordinator for Maryland's Assistive Technology Program. We provide a variety of services to everyone in the state of Maryland with a disability and family members, cohorts, etc. We provide individualized consultations, so you come and talk to us about specific things you might be struggling with, that you'd like a little more independence with, and we will discuss assistive technology solutions that might help you address your specific goals. And then you can borrow them from us for a month at a time from our lending libraries for free and figure out what really works well for you. And then we'll try to support you along the acquisition process if you do find something that you like as well. We have a reuse program, you can sometimes find things for free through. We have a financing program, and a wealth of knowledge about other resources that exist in the state. So come ahead and see us. Thanks.
One more, and we're going to do the video, and then we'll come back to the. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we have one more. The Maryland Relay. I think they're being shy. There's a name here as well. It's Maryland Telecommunication is also here. You got to come on. Tell me y'all.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marcus Smith here with Maryland Relay. This is nice. So here with Maryland Relay, we provide services that really empower people to take ownership in the conversation. So contact at 711 to help facilitate conversations with those who are adapting about that's different, challenging. Two services that I'm really excited about are TT, real-time text, which allows you to, everyone has a smartphone much here, and our organization allows you to partner with an evaluator to get a smartphone. So we turn on that feature and you get a contact someone who is hearing, and if you picture that, you will make that text and talk to someone, kind of the middle person that the interpreter when further empowering themselves. So, and also RCC, which is essentially a caption card. Any place you're going to go to. So that's some of the services that we do. I'm excited, and I'm probably very first myself, and I see that these services actually work. Thank you.
Maryland Supplemental Communications, or MAT program. MAT is the sister organization for Maryland Relay. We are the equipment distribution program. So for individuals who have difficulty using a standard phone,
if you qualify, you can come to that program and get a telecommunications device that helps. Maryland's very fortunate that we are one of the few states that has this equipment distribution program that services 5 different disabilities: hearing, speech, vision, mobility, and cognitive issues. So as telecommunications is moving away from analog phones and more into smart devices, we offer several different cell phones for vision impaired blind individuals, for hearing lost individuals. We have iPads that have AAC on them. It's a lot of great things. We are the first table when you come in the room on the right, so I hope you stop by to see us.
She ready? Okay, we're gonna take a little bit of detour in our schedule, because our Zoom presentation is ready. And so we're gonna introduce Kristen.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kristen Gilfeather, and I'm an assistive technology specialist at the NEAT Center, which is located in Hartford, Connecticut. I am coming to you from our Smart Home on Wheels, which is a tiny home outfitted on a trailer. So it is about 10 feet wide by about 33 feet long, and it is completely full of all different types of smart technology designed to show people how they can live their lives more independently. We primarily focus on different ways that we can, in a cost-effective way, help implement smart technology into their homes. We try and help people who are aging in place, people who are looking to move out on their own for the first time, people in all different scenarios, just kind of depending on what it is that meets their needs at this point in their life. So we're kind of go around and look at some of the different technology that we have here. Bear with me, there's a lot of technology in the house, and because it's so little, sometimes it competes with each other and maybe takes an extra minute. When people do have this technology in their home, it's a little bit nicer to them and doesn't compete with each other as much as ours does, given that it's in such a small environment. I also have you guys on wheels, so bear with me in regards to that as well, because sometimes I have to come back and forth to move you guys around so you can see everything. So the first thing that I wanted to point out to you guys is over here we have our demo station. So almost everything in the smart home is run through our Amazon products, which is called Alexa. If I say her name too loud, she will start responding to me and listening to what it is that I am saying. That does sometimes make people a little bit nervous because they think that she's always listening, and that's not the case. We can tell that our Amazon products are listening by depending on which one you have. This one here is the Echo Show 10. The number simply indicates the screen size. So 10 indicates 10 inches across the screen. The Echo Show 10 is unique in that it spins almost all the way around. It's about 360 degrees. So if I were to spin it for you, you would be able to see, but it was designed to respond to its name. So if I were to say, Alexa, my other one is answering me, the one behind the TV. Let's try again. Alexa. I might have to go mute the other one. Alexa. Let me go mute the other one so she'll stop answering. 1 second. Let's try that again. Alexa. Alexa. She's giving me a hard time today. Alexa. So we can tell she's listening by the blue bar that's at the bottom of the screen. I'm not sure that that's transferring quite, given the angle onto the computer for you guys right now. But we can do all different types of things through the Alexa device. So every time I say her name, she's going to give me that blue bar at the bottom of the screen so I know that she's listening to me. If I'm just saying other things, it's not going to have the blue bar so she's listening. One of the easiest ways to implement smart technology into somebody's home is through a smart plug. Smart plugs simply control the start and stop of the flow of electricity. All you have to do is plug any type of appliance into the smart plug and then plug the smart plug into your wall. You then have to program, and I'm using air quotes for that because you are simply going to do 3 steps. It's really not that complex. A lot of people hear the word program and they get a little bit nervous about what that means, but it's not meant to be scary. We have a lot of things in the home that are programmed through the smart plugs, but it's 3 steps. The steps are really simple. You have to name what it is that you're plugging it in, what you're plugging in. So we have an air conditioner plugged in, we have a fan plugged in, we have lamps, all different types of simple things plugged in. And then we also have, other light strips and things like that plugged in. And then you have to tell it its command. So turn on the lights, could be something as simple as that. And then you have to tell it what it's going to do. Those are the 3 simple steps for programming your smart plug. And then it does really simplistic things. So for example, let's see if I can turn you guys so that you can see my air conditioner, which is way up top here on the top of the show. So I can say, Alexa, turn on the AC. And my air conditioner turned on. We're going to turn that off. Alexa, turn off the AC. So hands-free, I'm able to tell my Alexa whether I want my AC on or off. Now it's summer, so of course my AC is something that I most likely want on frequently, but maybe it's something that I want on all the time. Maybe it's something that I forget to turn on, or is something that I want on frequently. I can actually tell my Alexa that. I probably shouldn't say her name all the time. She will start responding to me. So it could be something that I do something called a routine for. Now, this is something that a lot of people are not familiar with, but again, the Amazon devices make it really simple. So I can actually program my smart assistant, my Amazon device, to turn anything with a smart plug plugged into it on every day. Let's say it is an air conditioner or a light, to turn on every day at maybe 9 o'clock in the morning. And then we're going to turn it off every day at, let's say, 9 o'clock at night when it's time to get ready for bed. And that could be, again, that could be a light, that could be a fan, that could be an air conditioner. We're going to think about simple electronics that have on and off switches. Air conditioners, some people like to tell me, are not the best examples. We use the air conditioner in the smart home. Again, it's a small space, so as you guys can imagine, it gets hot in here. Up here in Hartford, where the smart home is located, we don't have a lot of shade, so it does get hot in here. It's not good for our technology. So that air conditioner turns on to a very cold setting for a couple hours on repeat, on and off for a couple hours all day long, to keep our technology nice and cool. But it is a pretty high tech, I don't know if you guys could see it, but it's a pretty high tech air conditioner. It does have programmable buttons like setting the temperature. So maybe that's not the right fit for you. Maybe having a light or something for fall hazards to make sure that people are safe at night is a better option for a smart plug. They also sell power strips. So just like people have at home, you can have a smart power strip that has multiple outlets that can be programmed, and then also non-programmable ones as well. So if you wanted something that was in your smart power strip that was just normal, if you will, on all of the time. Maybe your charger for your iPad, or maybe, you know, whatever it is, needs to be on all the time, your television or something. And then you wanted things that had the ability to go on and off with your voice or something to that effect. You can plug those into a smart outlet as well. So there's a lot of options when it comes to smart plugs as we think about, and these are very cost effective. So it's a really nice, easy way to kind of start getting into smart technology, or to start out with smart technology. The other thing that people like to be aware of when it comes to the Amazon devices. Now, again, I mentioned how small this home is. We have 3 Amazon Echo devices in this home. That's a lot for a really small space. That's why I had to go over and mute that one, because they were kind of fighting with each other. It's too much for this space. But we do have 3 of them, and they're all really different. So this one does have a screen on it, which is really nice, and I'm going to show you why in a few minutes. But it also has a camera. Now, some people aren't comfortable with the camera, and that's not a feature that they want to have, or it's not something that they feel comfortable about. Easy fix, we can just simply slide over. There's just a really simple slide bar, and you can see that it's covered now. I know it might not have translated. I'm gonna actually wheel you guys closer so that you can see. So right here at the top, you can see it's white, and then that's the camera off. And then if I go like this, now the camera is back on, it is uncovered. You also get a prompt at the top of the screen telling you that the camera has been turned on. So it's a really, really simple way to just disable or enable the camera, but still getting that screen feature on the Alexa or Amazon product. We also have I told you she would listen if I said her name too many times. Alexa, go home. Also, there's another one which is plugged into the wall over here. It's just a small speaker. There's little holders for them. They're really easy to hide. Sometimes people will have something like this in a kitchen or a common area, and they might have something, just a speaker in a bedroom or a more private location. It doesn't have a screen on it at all. It doesn't have any cameras or anything like that. It's just a speaker, but it can still communicate with all of my smart plugs, which is really nice. And then we're going to talk about other technology that can also communicate with our smart assistants, which is a little bit more exciting than just the smart plugs. The other product that I just am going to talk about briefly right now, and then when we get to the other side of the smart home, we'll talk a little bit more about, is the FireCube TV. So that product itself does not have a camera on it. It uses the screen as your television. So it essentially doesn't have its own screen, doesn't have a camera, but uses your television as its screen. So that's a really nice screen size, but no camera, so you don't have to worry about that feature if that's not something that you're interested in. There are reasons why people do really like the camera. You can use something called drop-in, which is a nice way if you have the Amazon Alexa app. She still heard me. To kind of like FaceTime or video call an actual device. So that can be a nice way to virtually check in on somebody. Maybe their phone isn't working. Sometimes people's, phone batteries die, things like that. It's a little bit more reliable way to check in on somebody who might be home, newly living independently, etc. Or maybe they're just not great with FaceTime on their phones, so it's another option. Again, the camera doesn't have to be on. You can do a drop-in feature on a regular just speaker. It will just be an audio call. I actually do that frequently at home. I have teenagers, so I do that with them, and it's a nice way to be like, hey, are you home? What are you doing? Did you get back from school, etc. So it's a nice option there as well. Now, I know we want to talk about promoting independence, living independently. It's a very important topic to me. I have a background, I didn't mention this before, but I have a background in occupational therapy, so it's something that I'm very passionate about. So I like to think about safety what are some of the things that come into mind when we think about safety living at home? One of the things that I think about is actually securing your home. So locks, right? How do we keep our house or our home secure? At the smart home, we have not only locks, but we have window and door sensors that are smart. So what does that look like? That means I'm going to turn you guys so you can see this. Hopefully the sun's not too bright. I can't control that, unfortunately, so hopefully it's gonna agree with me, but I'm gonna bring you over to the door here. So this is an August smart lock here on the door. Now, we chose this specific one for a couple of reasons. One, it's big, meaning it doesn't require a ton of fine motor movements to turn it. It's not hardwired. Some smart locks do require hard wiring. If I open this up, see if I can turn you guys this way, so you're not getting the sun. There's no, I don't know if you can see that. I think you can. I'm getting a glare, but there's no difference. It doesn't look any different on this side as opposed to just what you would see on a regular door lock. So for people who are aging in place or who are used to a typical door lock, it's just a key, which might be helpful for some people and might not be helpful for others. But this is just one option. You know, we have keypads out there that might be helpful for an individual who might forget their key or might not be able to use a key. There's also like key cards like you have in the hotels now. Those are also really helpful for individuals as well as alternatives. But if I wanted to, I'm just gonna turn this a little bit so you guys can see. So if I say, Alexa, lock the back door.
Locking, turn it on.
It's gonna lock. I hope you guys can see that. Yeah, it looks like you could. And not only did it lock the back door for me, but I also got a notification on my iPad as well as my phone, which is connected to this specific lock. So that can be connected to anybody's device who, you know, caregiver or person who lives in the home, etc. And again, we had talked about those routines before. So if we wanted this on a routine, maybe every night at 8 o'clock, we wanted our home to be locked and secured, we can do that. Whether the individuals living in the home remembered to lock the door or not, it will lock the door. If it's already locked, it's just gonna, you know, essentially lock it again. It's not a problem. It's not gonna be an issue or anything like that. Alexa, unlock the back door.
What's your voice code for back door?
Unlock the back door.
What's your voice code for back door?
So it's actually asking me for a code right now, and I forget, my colleague just changed it. So I'm gonna show you a different way that I can do this. I can actually go in on my phone. And I can open up, Alexa, stop. And I can see, you guys can see it's just a red dot. And by just tapping and holding, it unlocked my door for me. It's a little hard to show you guys through the screen through the screen. But as you can see, my door is now unlocked just by tapping the screen on my phone. So there's definitely options there when it comes to locking, unlocking the home, okay? Now, up here, I don't know if you can see with the sun, maybe if I show you, well, I think what we have to do first is back up this way, and we are going to raise the shades. So we have these shades over here. These are Bali shades. Now there are, I should have said this before, but there are all different types of locks, lights, smart assistants, everything, right? These are just, I'm just giving you one example. So Bali is just one example of smart shades. Bali is a little bit on the pricier side. They by no means are the only one that you guys, you know, should or can buy. It's just one example. But similar to smart locks, one of the things that I liked about these smart shades is they don't have to be hardwired. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to take this one down. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm going to show you. So this is actually the motor, okay, for the shades. It's a battery pack. Inside, it holds a bunch of AA. I can even open it up for you. It holds a bunch of AA batteries, okay? See? Bunch of AA batteries, really simple. It's not hardwired into the wall. This is the motor. This is what makes the shades go up and down. And then it just plugs in. So if there's a problem with your shades, of course, now these shades aren't going to go up and down for me, but that's okay. But these are also connected to my smart assistant. So I can say, Alexa, raise the shades. Let's see. I know they're saying them. Alexa, raise the shades. Difficult. Alexa's gonna give me a hard time after I told you guys it would work.
I don't know that.
Alexa, raise the shades. I think my smart shades went to sleep, which happens sometimes. We'll try them again in a minute. Sometimes the technology here, when I have Zoom going and when I have all of the technology inside of the smart home going and inside of the building, which you guys might have seen when I was rolling you around, sometimes it gets a little delayed. So hang on and we'll get them working for you in a second. But the other thing that I wanted to show you, actually now the way I have you positioned is right here over my head. This is actually a door sensor. So these ones here are by ring. So every time, try not to block it, every time the door or a window is open, we can get notifications about that. So that's really helpful, again, for people who are living at home independently, caregivers, etc., to know simply what's going on, just to have that extra piece of, that extra set of awareness, extra set of eyes, whether they're there or not, etc. There's all different types of reasons why that's helpful, as I'm sure you guys can imagine in different environments. I'm going to give the blinds a second to reset. The other thing that I like about these blinds, let's see if it'll work for me, is they have a manual button as well. So they will go up just by pressing the button. If you are having a hard time with your smart assistant listening to you, they will raise up and lower just by pressing the button, which is a nice feature too, because we can't always, as you guys just saw, we can't always rely on technology. Sometimes we have to open our shades when our smart assistants are not working. So it is super bright there. So I apologize if that is bright coming through to you guys. The sun is very bright here in Hartford today. Let's see. I'm going to turn you guys this way so you're not getting blinded by that. And then hopefully they will reset and I can show you how that works with my voice in just a minute. I'm going to bring you down here though and talk about some home health stuff that we have in the smart home. So Why Things is a brand that we came across recently. We have two Why Things products. The first one is a blood pressure cuff. So there are individuals, as you guys I'm sure are aware of, who might need to take their blood pressure at home for various reasons. So this is just an automatic blood pressure cuff. It's nice because all of the information automatically gets ported into their app, into the Why Things, I believe it's how you say it, Why Things app, and stores it into like a nice graph, which can then be shared with a healthcare professional. In Connecticut, we have spoken with doctors and different healthcare facilities about that, and they are comfortable with how the information is relayed. So that's nice. There's like different formats that they can be shared with professionals as well. So it's a nice way for people to have the option to take their blood pressure at home for various reasons, whatever that may be. And then let me just grab this off the floor. We have a smart scale. So again, Why Things has a smart scale that, again, all of the information, you can have multiple users for this and the blood pressure graph, can be ported into the app. So it does like weight, BMI, of course, because you have different users, so your height would already be entered in there. And then it does like body fat percentage and things like that. You do have to be barefoot when you go onto the scale. And then, I don't know why, added little bonus, it also gives you the weather when you get onto the scale in the morning. So that is an interesting little plus things. In addition to those things over there, we have, just because I didn't mention them before and I don't want to forget, we have the Google Smart Assistant as well. Currently, the smart home is connected to, as I mentioned before, the Amazon devices, but we do have the Google Nest products as well. And I will show you another Google Nest product that we really like. But one thing that I will say is if you are going to use Google products, stick with Google products. If you are going to use Amazon products, stick with Amazon products. Having Google products, just meaning like lights, things like that, smart assistants, plugs, stick with one brand, one company, because they're gonna butt heads and you're gonna have issues with things actually working. When you go to get things like plugs or lights, which we haven't talked about, but we will talk about those, you just want to make sure it's really simple. They have them on the box. You'll see the little logos, like you'll see the Amazon, the A to Z little smiley face thing, or the Google. So it will tell you the compatibility of them, but it can get confusing. We've actually dealt with some clients who have said, oh, you know, I had Google, I switched to Amazon, and now it's a compatibility issue to get things switched over, and they had to replace things. So just kind of make a decision and stick with it. When you are getting yourself or somebody else set up with smart technology. It's just something to keep in mind. A lot of things are compatible with both, even though this actually, there's no way it's going to transmit through the screen, but it actually says very lightly, like etched on it, it says Amazon. Even though it says Amazon, it's compatible, excuse me, it's compatible with Google. So there's a lot of compatibility between the products, but again, once you set something as a Google device, it's a little tricky to get it back to an Amazon product, if that makes sense. So just pick and choose what you're going to pick one and stick with it. Don't kind of go back and forth. Other things that we have in the home, we have some aging in place individuals that like to use still landline phones with larger buttons. This is just a regular landline phone, nothing too special about that. And then we have a captioning phone as well. Something to keep in mind for individuals with hearing impairments. If you are speaking to someone with a captioning phone, please make sure that you slow down your rate of speech, as there is a significant delay, or there can be a significant delay, I should say. Behind me, before I move the camera, this is the Panasonic Home Hawk. It's a lamp. However, there is a camera. I'm going to start it so you guys can see. There is a camera on the other side of it. So the blue light just indicates that it's on, and this is the camera here. They call it kind of a hidden in plain sight camera. I don't really think it's very well hidden, but that's how they market it. So we'll go with it. Of course, you would never put a camera in someone's home without informing them that you have a camera in their home, but it is a little bit more of a discreet way to have a camera if that was something that the individual in the home felt comfortable with, again, for check-in purposes, etc. The light on this particular one is okay. There are other ones, again, it's just to give you guys an example of things that are out there. I'm going to kind of step out of the frame for a moment because this is a nice view of the kitchen, and I want to talk to you guys for a minute about lights. So in the home, we use Philips Hue lights. Now, Philips Hue lights are really cool because, as you can see in the kitchen, we have the 4 lights that are just like, they're light bulbs, guys. They're just inset light bulbs. They're not
hardwired. Again, they're not, nothing that's requires like an electrician or anything special like that. Really simple stuff. So just light bulbs that you buy at Home Depot, Lowe's, Best Buy, places like that, Amazon. And then we also have, they might be a little tricky for you to see. Let me just tip you up like that. We have light strips up here. These are also Philips Hue light strips, okay? And then the light strips are also underneath the cabinets. All Philips Hue lights can be programmed to different colors. Now, I've had individuals be like, that's cool, Kristen, why do you need that? Lots of reasons. Aside from the fact that it's fun, which it is, there's also reasons why colored lights can be actually very beneficial. So we've done some cool stuff in individuals' homes where, for example, we talked about routines, right? I talked about routines very, very simplistically, okay? I talked about routines in the sense of having a light or a fan come on at 8 o'clock in the morning and then turn off at 8 o'clock at night, or a door locking and unlocking, right? Let's take it a step further. We have an individual that wants to live at home. This is a real life story. So I want you to think about people that maybe you know or yourself or whoever. So I had an individual who wanted to live on her own, and she struggled to remember her morning routine. And she was very, very visual. So having light strips like this was a nice visual for her, okay? So we were able to install light strips in her kitchen, but she wasn't necessarily knowing that she needed to go over there. Now, I moved some stuff around in the smart home this morning so that I could show you guys exactly what it was that I meant. And the reason what I moved was I moved this device over there, that device, which is a medication dispenser, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a little bit. But the reason I moved it is because in her home, that's what I did. I put Philips Hue lights near her medication dispenser. And the reason I did that is because the routine that I set up was I made those Philips Hue lights turn green to remind her to go to that area at a certain time when it was time to take her medication, because that was really important for her. So yes, the Philips Hue lights are really cool and they're fun and we can make them rainbow lights and things like that, but we can also use them very purposefully and strategically to help people live independently. So she didn't have to do anything. In the morning, she was pretty good about getting up around the same time every day. That was just like her built-in body's routines to do that. So part of her, I'm gonna say Amazon's routines, Smart Assistant's routines, were for those lights to turn green in the morning. So she would remember she had that visual cue to go into the kitchen, and then that pill dispenser, not that specific one, because it was a different one, but was scheduled at around the same time to dispense the medication. And it was a great way for her to learn, okay, this is what I need to do in the morning in order to be able to be home independently and remember to take my medicine. So that is one way that lights can be used with your Smart Assistant without you guys doing, without any type of intervention. That's just like a program and it runs independently. Now, one of the questions I get asked all the time is, what happens when the power goes out? Power goes out, full disclosure, it's not gonna work, right? I mean, the lights aren't gonna work, the things aren't gonna work. Okay, what happens when the power comes back on? There is a little bit of a lag. Oh, my air conditioner just turned on because of my routine, so let me turn it off really quick. Alexa, turn off the AC. There we go. Sorry about that. So what happens when the power comes back on? You know, my power's been out for an hour. Is it gonna be delayed by an hour? Absolutely not. Your Smart Assistant will know what time it is once it's back on the Wi-Fi. Once everything is back reconnected, it will just pick right back up. All the routines will pick back up, not a problem. So just something to kind of keep in mind. But I do want to show you how you can control your lights with your voice, just like we've been controlling things in the smart home with our voice throughout this presentation. So I'm going to say something like, Alexa, turn off all lights. Very simple. Alexa, turn on all lights. Easy. So that is a very simple way to add things into your home. And again, it's not something that requires a lot of work. The one thing that I will say about Philips Hue specifically, and some of the other ones, whether it's Ring for security systems or Philips Hue for lights, is, I can't unplug it, so let me back you guys up. Some of them require these little hubs. So this hub here is just needed to be plugged in. There it is. You just need to plug it in somewhere in your home. It connects to your Wi-Fi, and then it will, let's see, it will just be the way that the Bluetooth, because there's like a Bluetooth feature in the lights, it will speak to the Wi-Fi in your house and make them work, essentially. It's not that complicated, but as long as that's plugged in, your lights will work, if we can kind of connect those dots. So I'm going to bring you into the kitchen, but we are going to talk about the microwave really quick. So let's head over here. And I think I'm almost at time, so I just want to show you this super quick, and then we are going to wrap up. So microwaves also can be smart. And I want to show you this button really quick. So for those speaking or non-speaking individuals, or individuals who articulation might be a little bit of a challenge, they have these smart buttons, okay? So smart buttons are something that can help. I programmed this smart button to talk to my Amazon products and tell my microwave to cook. So this is a Alexa microwave. So I'm just gonna open my microwave, close my microwave, press my button, and it's gonna cook for 5 seconds. 5 seconds because I don't want to start a fire, not because that's the only thing that it can do. But that is the way that we can introduce independence in the kitchen. So I think we are out of time. I'm not positive, but I think we are. I just looked at the clock. So let me know if we are. But I think we are. Yes, okay. So thank you so much for having me. If you guys have any questions, you can always reach out to me. My contact information is easy to find at the Neat Center. But this has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Now it's the other providers that are here. Did Rats Mobility show up? I'm not sure they're here, but the other mobility, and we will give them time after our keynote speakers to introduce themselves, if that's okay with you guys, and then we'll dismiss for you all to discuss. So we're going to skip to, so we have Station MD is here, Thrive, Empower Me, Improve Me, Improve On, Florio, Polytopia, and Xandar. You're going to hear from Xandar after our keynote speaker. Before we dismiss, we're going to give the other readers time to come through, introduce themselves to you real quick, and then let you all get to know each other a little bit better. So, getting back to our next speaker, because this is something extraordinary and something is Linda Mayhue, I'm sorry, your name, was in with Xandar, and she's gonna talk to you about what they do with labels and all kinds of cool stuff. So how many provider agencies do we have today? Just raise your hands. So all those people, so this one is
Good afternoon. I think it's officially afternoon at this point. And thank you for having me. I will try and keep this brief because I think obviously there's lots to talk about today. And I'm to pay for lunch, so that's important. So my name is Mayhue. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm a registered nurse by background, and I am the senior clinical and customer success for a radar technology company called Xandar Kardian. And we go by Execute for short, because Xandar Kardian, you can only imagine, would be hard enough to remember. Do you want? Oh, perfect. So really quickly, who we are, we, as I said, are a global radar technology company. We grew out of a radar research lab at Hanyang University in South Korea. So everything that we do is founded and predicated on understanding how we can use radar to improve our lives in various ways. So everything from field automation to real-time occupancy, and then right down to healthcare, and that's where I come in. So we have a huge amount of research under our belts, including over 36 journal publications by this point, and 36 patents on various things that we're doing to use radar. And most notably, we were the first company to receive FDA 510(k) clearance to use radar to monitor vital signs and human presence using radar. The next slide. Next slide. Thank you. I'll go really quick. We got our FDA clearance in 2021, and in the year after that, our big focus was on understanding how the sensors work in real world settings. So we started out primarily in senior care and rehab spaces, so post-acute and even some acute care settings, and rapidly expanded over the course of this year. So we started in, I want to say, under 100 sensors in 2021, and maybe in 2022, and this year alone more than 3,400, and really spreading across the board, which is really exciting. The most amazing thing about what we do is that we're constantly finding new ways to use the radar to actually improve the lives of individuals across the globe. And I have to say that normally when I speak, I'm somewhat spoiled because I firmly believe that we're the coolest technology out there, but I think just the presentation might challenge me today. So thank you for that. Okay, next slide, please. So what do we do? What's our program? We are all about improving clinical outcomes. At the end of the day, we're looking at someone who have healthcare needs that might require additional support at home. So because we can monitor vital signs remotely and continuously, we have that capability to be able to detect when things are happening sooner, and when you know about it sooner, you can change things sooner. You can change those care plans for those folks earlier. One of the nice things, of course, is that our technology enables independence in the sense that we're not asking our residents to do anything to use the technology. They simply have to sleep in bed, or you place a sensor where they're spending most of their rest time. In certain sectors, there is reimbursement because we are an assisted medical device. So we are, at least within that post-acute space, working with remote patient monitoring companies, leveraging some of those Medicare reimbursements. And then what we're is that if we can automate some of these tasks, that allows us to find some of those operational efficiencies in staffing that we have. So things like, if we know who needs more attention on a given day, that's where we can focus our efforts. And if those clinicians then have a mechanism to triage the patients that they're seeing in a given day, we can use their time more effectively. Next slide, please. So how do we do all this? Sounds amazing, right? So the sensors are using what's called ultra-wideband radar, which if you are like me last year, I knew nothing about this, and now I'm a radar geek like the rest of the Kardian. What it's doing is it's sending out 15 million pulse signatures per second and actually measuring the bounce back of that radar. What this means is that we can detect environmental vibration down to what we call the tiniest nano vibration. So we can detect human presence, of course, by looking at large body motion, and we can detect respiratory rate by looking at micro vibration. So literally the vibration caused in your chest as you breathe in and out, and then nano vibration, which is those tiny, tiny little vibrations in the surface of your skin as your heart beats. Best things about using radar for remote monitoring is that it's completely contact free. So smartwatches, any kind of wearable that you're looking at are great, but they have to be worn. And what we know is that compliance tends to drop off 10 days or so into it. Basically, the men have to charge it, you forget to put it back on, or it'll be hanging on your a walker or wherever it might be, or on the bedside table. The sensors are always going. They're completely continuous and completely autonomous. So once we've installed it, it's running. When the person comes into the space and is at rest, the sensor begins monitoring those vital signs. So as a result of that, we're typically getting somewhere in the neighborhood of 4,000 to 7,000 heart rate and respiratory rate readings each per day. And of course, when we have that kind of data, we have a tremendous power to really understand the energy summary. Next slide, please. So a little bit of technical details here. I wouldn't be an XKB if I didn't. So we're running on a 6.5 to 8.5 gigahertz frequency, which basically means if you think about it relative to your home Wi-Fi, just like that, you can penetrate through surfaces and materials. So we can go through clothing, blankets, drywall, even furniture, as I mentioned, drywall. The only thing that we can't go through are metal, water, and heavy concrete. What's great about that is that there's no penetration in the human body. So the sensors will bounce off everything else in space, or kind of bounce back into space, and it'll bounce right back off the human body. If your body's in so much water, the sensors can't penetrate. So it's actually 40 times safer than the home Wi-Fi router. That's the one question we always get. We have an enormous range as well, and if you want to change the slide there, the next one. So we can detect your heart rate from about 10 feet away, respiratory rate from about 23 feet, and then motion and presence from 33 feet in space. So that allows us to be very flexible in where we install it. In many cases, our sensors are installed on the ceiling in a space, or if there are shared spaces, then we'll actually put it at the head of the bed, and then we just intentionally shorten that range so that we're capturing the vital signs of the person that we're looking to. Next slide. Okay, can you actually hit it? There's more. One more time. Okay, there we go. Now, I promise you I was going to go fast, and I'm going to probably answer the question hopefully that you're all thinking about, which is why bother? Well, truthfully, we know that vital signs change before things happen. And that is no surprise to anybody, I'm sure. But what we know is that we actually get a much longer lead time on those changes than we thought. So a lot of the studies looking at when vital signs change are taking place in the hospital, but we're actually looking at individuals that we expect to be stable, but maybe at a higher risk of deterioration. What we're finding is that those vital signs are changing actually 24 to 48 hours, even sometimes days ahead of those symptoms being presented. So that gives us an awful lot of time to identify that something's happening, make changes, and actually improve outcomes. Next slide. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of these case studies. I won't go through them all, but we've got a couple of really cool ones. And basically what you're going to get out of this is to say some of those vital signs changes that we see are very, very subtle. And they happen in ways that aren't necessarily going to be detected by our traditional mechanisms of monitoring vital signs. Usually what we have found is that it's a subtle change over somebody's baseline. So it's not necessarily that those vital signs are screaming out of control or outside of what we would consider normal. In fact, they are usually just a very subtle baseline change. So what we have done, because we have so many measurements, is we actually do an analysis on that data every day So the clinicians are getting notifications to say, so these are the folks that you need to look at today. And sometimes those vital signs might still be considered normal, but they are significantly different for that person. And really what we found is that's where the biggest power comes in. You can probably skip through the next couple here because I think we're going to be, so do you want to just scroll to the next one? There we go. So obviously staffing is a huge issue, and anything that we can do to support staff to make better decisions, particularly if you're looking at folks in the community where somebody who might need clinical care actually needs to drive and go somewhere and takes a lot of time. We're all about enabling clinicians to make better decisions and being able to kind of identify who needs the care. I'm going to keep moving because I'm trying to go fast here. Next slide. Okay, this is an image of our newest radar device. This is it's called a 300 H. The H stands for home, but basically this is our newest generation device intended to be used in a home setting, intended to be very simple setup, literally plug and play. I've got one actually there, and I've got one kind of over on my table in the other room as well. This is not yet FDA cleared, but we're expecting one to come through probably sometime in the next 3 to 6 months. And this one, again, is intended to be as simple as you can possibly get it, direct from home. All right. This is our core team, although there's a few more of us around the world. And we're really happy. If you have any questions or if you're interested, please come by and see me, and happy to chat. Thank you so much. Thanks so much. Listen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Leslie Thompson. I'm Assistant Director of Programs with Maryland DEA. I wanted to come up here and introduce our keynote speaker, Beth Bullard from Safe and Home. Safe and Home is our new completely remote support services provider. That's all they do. But in addition to that, they have kind of crosswalked or married their technology and their services with the Charting a Life course framework. And if you've been involved with DEA and what we do, even a little bit, you probably have at least heard of Charting a Life course. A really important person-centered planning framework that we are working very hard and diligently to really infuse into our person-centered planning process. So, without further ado, I would love to introduce you to Beth from Safe and Home, who is also one of our generous sponsors today. Yeah, pretty sorry to keep you from your lunch. So we will go through a little bit more quickly than planned originally, but okay, so as Leslie said, we are working very closely and we have a connection with Charting the Life course series. Has anyone heard of that? Is that new? Okay, just a few. All right, well, we're not going to go into that too much today, but just kind of, show the marriage of the two with how we work with that with remote supports. So I think a good place to start is kind of just starting with really the definition of what is remote supports, and has anyone heard of remote supports? Okay, after today, of course. Okay, so remote supports is the delivery of supports from a remote location through virtual means by trained staff who engage an individual through two-way communication devices. So that's really just like definition. But if you really want to break it down in its simplest form, you can have a tablet or a phone with a single button to call remote support staff at any time. So for any reason, 24 hours a day. And it's a combination of staff supported by technology to keep people safe and happy. So really that's simply the idea. It's just keeping people stable,
keeping them happy, keeping them safe. And really honestly, we all use remote supports in some way every day. Whether it's online banking or telehealth or virtual classrooms, Zoom, just a map to get here today. We're all using it every day. It's important to, mention that remote supports isn't meant to suddenly replace another support or service, but it's meant to augment other supports that are already in place. So the beauty of it really is that it can be used just in case to fill in other gaps of coverage. So if you already have this in-home support system, we can put remote supports in there to kind of fill in those gaps. And then it's also, used to empower the IDP community. Used to empower them to live a life that they're choosing with a little support or a lot of support. So if you look at, a person-centered service, which is what we are, we're going to talk about how remote supports can align with Turning to Life course. It's a framework to help individuals and their entire support circle explore and develop and experience a really good life. So both the Maryland Department of Health and the DTA and Safe and Home use the Turning to Life course as service models. And that's been our service support model from the beginning. So, we are going to use the person-centered approach that focuses on what is important to the person and important for the person. Our solutions don't come in a pre-packaged kit. So when we are starting to work with an individual, we're not just going to mail out a solution that fits a one size for all. We start with a consultation, we meet with the individual, and figure out what they need or what they want from their entire support team. The individual then has the power to make their own decisions, and they can use the remote support when they need it or as often as they need it. So if we look at next slide. So if we look at the traditional person-centered support model, on the left is how it's kind of traditionally been, where we have the person in the center and the supports are kind of wrapped around them. So you have, services, maybe support professionals that are a little bit smothering to them. It's not smothering, but just kind of, they can prevent them from being really integrated. With the new kind of way of looking at things, where we're using the person-centered support, but really working more in a integrated fashion, the person has more control on the different services, supports in their life. So this is where we start to see that integrated star that we have in Turning to Life course. So not to go through all of the different life domains that Turning to Life course has, but we can see that, so we're modernizing with support and give modern options, like remote supports for each individual. They do have more freedom of choices. They have more control over their daily lives. And they also have more choices about education, employment, where they live, how they can be more healthy, feel safe and secure, stay connected 24/7 as they wish, and they can learn to do that for themselves. So we will again go to the next slide to just three of those buckets using one individual that we work with. His name is Beth, and we can kind of look at how three of those support buckets have really influenced him. So one of those being discovery and navigation. So remote supports has provided active listening to help them process and access and navigate things like, for example, when he had some neighbors next door to him. He moved into a new apartment, they're being all noisy, and he didn't really know what to do with that. So he'd be pick up his tablet, push the button, get a call on the other end, and say, I'm not really sure how to handle the situation. And they were able to walk me through, like, hey, why don't we call downstairs to the front desk and put in a complaint? rather than him just kind of sitting there stewing, maybe anxious, maybe eloping. He was able to kind of walk through that steps of, you know, what would be the proper ways to address that situation. Another way the training like buckets support Ben is by connecting and networking. So the remote support staff, you know, they become friends and peers with Ben or with any of their members. They can do daily check-in calls with Ben, check with him to see, you know, how was his day, how was work. You know, something about conflict, something he wants to work through. He can go ahead and do that and not feel like he's holding things inside. He can be encouraged to maybe talk with his job coach or somebody else. It also supports goods and services. So, you know, if he needs to have a schedule done for him on what time to pick up the bus for work, or maybe his ride doesn't show up that day, then he can access his little remote button that will call his mother. He can tell her, hey, you know what, my ride didn't show up, I'm in trouble here, standing at the bus station and nobody's here. So there's all sorts of different ways that remote supports being, you know, kind of a technology. It also integrates these different turning the light course models. Yeah. So this is that integrated star that we keep seeing if you're familiar with turning the light course. So you know, we look at the star, the different points on it that kind of stand for different areas of our life. Technology is typically, I think, where we would see remote supports fitting into, which is right, that is, you know, correct, but it's also not incorrect, but it's we fit in all the areas. We can see where, just, you know, when using Ben as the example, where we kind of fit into all those other areas, personal strengths, asset-based, relationship-based, having different eligibility and community-based, all just using remote support. So when we meet with an individual during that consultation, we're checking in on all those different areas. So we have all this full circle that we are, I guess. During, like I said, during every minute that we're going to interact with these individuals, we're asking questions and not directing the conversations, but trying to find out more about the individuals so that we can make the person-centered plan for them. For example, if we find out that someone's an advocate, we know then that they can easily use a tablet or other types of technologies, perhaps. For example, you know, if they have a cell phone, then, you know, they can push buttons easily, they can navigate through. However, if they're in someone's home and they don't have any technology and they haven't used that before, we might recommend something a little bit less complicated, like a one-touch button to easily call for help or something that can provide direction to them. Another example might be designing a toll tree that somebody can, you know, push a button and will call down in case of emergencies. One individual might want us to contact a friend for them or a parent, while another might want us to call 911 for them if they have a problem. So you can see how it's very person-centered depending on who the individual is and exactly what their needs or wants are. And then just talking a little bit about the dignity of risk. And I forget what the name was of, I think it was when SEEC was up here doing their presentation. I think it was Severo. Maybe it was the name. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. You're giving an example. Like, that's exactly what dignity of risk is. But basically, the definition of the dignity of risk is dignity of risk is the idea that self-determination and the right to take reasonable risks are essential for dignity and self-esteem and should not be impeded by excessively cautious supports. So this is really where remote supports can fit in, where, you know, somebody can have that opportunity to do things on their own when necessary. When able, I should say. And just wrapping it up here, I think, ultimately what we all want is to be like. And when we can have these life experiences and an opportunity for community with less hands-on support, when an individual is ready, they can change their life. By giving an individual more control and allowing them to choose, and try to fail, to take the risks they learn. We can give them that autonomy to learn, and that creates growth. So then, kind of shows their, sorry. They can have the vision and experiences, create more opportunities and more possibilities. And that in turn, we hope to create the life. That's it.
We want to thank everyone today. We have run out of time because our visitors are on a tight schedule. So I want to thank our professional staff who decorated for us, professional development staff. I want to thank all the vendors who I encourage you to go visit. I want to thank all our sponsors today. I want to thank our speakers and the governor for our day, August 15th, that we want next year. I'm supposed to have some people. And we're going to dismiss you. I encourage some of you to please, if you have a number on your table, if you can, if you're an even number, visit the vendors, and then we don't forget your tickets that are in your bag to take to the pizza, and for the ice cream out here as well. Get you a cup and a cup made. So you feel like you have really been to a party today and are ready to pizza. Thank you all for coming, and I truly appreciate it, and I hope to see you again next year.